Hi everyone, this is just a response video to Mark's video that he just made, which was all about, moderation. You know, the moderator's role on channels and joint endeavours and all sorts of discussions that take place online these days. And if you haven't seen that video, then this one is not going to make any sense. So you should probably watch that one first. Personally, from my own perspective, and it's really bizarre that you brought it up today because I sort of started to think about this a little bit over the weekend. I think perhaps there should be ground rules. I mean, when I say ground rules, I mean the kind of rules that apply, you know, like in a gentleman's handshake, old-fashioned sort of moral values, whereas the basic rule is you treat others as you wish to be treated yourself. And I mean, I know that if people don't agree with me, then I find it absolutely fine for them to say, and I'll either come back with a response as to, you know, why I'm still holding my opinion, or thank you so much for giving me that extra bit of information because now I need to go away and think about it a bit more. So from a personal perspective, that's how I like to operate. Of course, it doesn't always work like that online, and I think I've made some posts recently apologising that I can't leave comments on some of your guys' short videos, and uploading difficulties and restrictions, and it's been like a long process, and I'm not very technologically minded, although doing YouTube is like a crash course in understanding certain bits and bobs around technology. So I would recommend it purely for the learning that comes. But yeah, so for example, I've had a different opinion on the Prince Harry story, for example. And, you know, I've just joined in with some of the commenting from other channels who are, you know, making videos and discussing and debating this subject. And what I've come to sort of suspect, realise, I don't know, I'm still investigating all of the issues that I've been having, is that it's highly likely somebody's actually reported my channel as spam for the fact that I've simply held a different point of view. And I personally feel that it is really important, and not everyone's going to want to agree with what I'm about to say now, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that there is too much of you either have to be in this camp or you have to be in that camp. And there's not enough sensible, middle of the line, or just human decency, actually, going on. And a lot of people might argue, well, that's the whole point of media. You know, it's supposed to draw you in, and it's either massively scary or really exciting. And I would just say, yeah, yes to all of the above. But there are also times and discussions and debates where the issues that present through, you know, whichever celebrity or famous person it is at the moment, or massively important story that happens, the issues that bubble up are sometimes really quite important issues that perhaps need to be addressed even of themselves. Even if you take the salacious story out of it, the actual issue that's been brought to attention needs to be addressed. And personally, and again, this is only my opinion, I feel that we're in a time of history where more of us, if we feel called to do that, well, we should absolutely do it. And it's just such a shame that you can end up being on the receiving end of sabotage for simply speaking your mind. Now, this is in both camps. So, you know, you will be sabotaged, and I don't know what they do to accuse you of being a spammer on YouTube, but that will happen from the left and the right. It happens from people who actually just don't want you to challenge, or perhaps challenge is the wrong word, who don't want to have to encompass any other opinion other than the one that they've got. And none of us are 100% right all of the time. We think we're right. I think I'm right about things. But sometimes it's having those discussions with other people and extra bit of information that broadens our horizons, gives us a much, much bigger picture. And well, actually, we end up being all the better for it ourselves, you know. And I don't just hate on command, and I don't just take a side on command. And, you know, I've previously said that even when we talk about things like Lucy Letby and the horrendous and appalling ordeal that she has been through, you know, there were steps along that path where people could have got involved and probed a bit more deeply, or just said, you know, a bit more loudly, I'm not seeing it in that way. And yet they didn't. They sort of went along with the herd. And here we are, and there's an innocent woman languishing in prison because of that. And yet, for me, many of the people who can see that as clear as the nose on their faces would also really easily be drawn in to nitpicking or isolating or cold shouldering somebody else because of the group that they're affiliated with, you know. So they have seen it for the Lucy Letby case, but they can't apply that same sort of reasoning to just normal mundane day-to-day stuff. I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. I think we had a lady made a video this morning just to alert us to the fact that there are organised opposition, if you like, to make it look like, don't worry public, we've got all this under control. And I'm actually sure that she's correct. You know, there probably are organised oppositions, except one of the people she mentioned today, Sonia Poulton, I don't think is an organised opposition. I really don't. That's just my gut instinct. I've got no way of proving that. And I suppose I'm just proving now that it's okay to hold a different opinion. I'm still glad for that woman's perspective from this morning. I'm sorry I forgot your name. I will remember names eventually, but I'm really bad at it to begin with. Because it's better to sort of be able to hold a whole host of different opinions rather than only be able to hold one. Because it makes you more alert as a person. And actually because nobody is perfect. You know, I'm not perfect. But yeah, so I hope all of that made sense. And I'd love to do a live, Mark, if it works. I mean, I don't want to say yes and then I just can't get on. The other option, of course, is for a few of us to, or for all of us to go ahead and do a Google meeting. I think you can record those. Then that way, if there are any areas that we wish to be edited out, we can be as candid as we want to be then. And if there are any areas that anybody wants to be edited out, because obviously you can upload it as a private video that only we can see on YouTube, and we can do it like that and then share it. But I mean, the decision is yours. That's probably another annoying trait of mine. I do, you know, I really am quite easygoing, probably 90% of the time, 95% of the time even. It will only be on the odd 5% occasion that, you know, I really will want to go a certain way. But in all honesty, there aren't very many groups out there that are not only able to debate things, and sometimes it might get a bit heated, but as long as it doesn't get personal, like Mark was saying, and we just stick to that motto, you know, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Actually, that's something Jesus said. If we just stick to that principle, you can't really go too far wrong. Even if that means making a commitment, you know, you might be a complete hothead. There are certain things that I'm a complete hothead about. Even if that is making a commitment to just, you know, walking away for 10 minutes and then coming back kind of thing. But yeah, I forgot where I was going. Blah, blah, blah. It's nice to see you all. And actually, I just want to say I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving the content. I'm loving the music, the poetry. I just think there are so many wonderfully talented people who don't get a look in, and we miss out on not seeing them and not hearing from them. And it would just be nice to be a group that not only can debate and even get heated, but actually maybe even a step further, come up with, you know, happy mediums. I know there are going to be times when you just have to agree to disagree, but that does seem to be the thing that is really, really lacking across the board, you know, everywhere, not just in the United Kingdom, not just online, that people take their positions. They say they value free speech until the opposite side, you know, wants their free speech to be valued. And it's very, very rare that you see public compromise. You do every now and again see people just agreeing to disagree. You know, there are a lot of good people out there too. So yeah, I'm up for a live if I can get it to work, but I would absolutely try my hardest. So see you soon.